and protracted, because I have to do that for 6 months, and I look like a crazy person all around when I'm playing the part. But you know, I think it's an important part of the character, and the physical transformation is a huge point of access for me in the character. So I'm not mad. I'm kind of mad at it, but I'm not hating on it. I'm just mad at it. Is that somebody in the back, in the way back? Yeah, that person waving and the other person's pointing at it? Yeah, you.
Can I help you?
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, come on, if you want to, hurry up. Is that it? Is that your question? You sent a question on the hot folks. Oh yeah, there's a lot of new hands. How about this guy here in the middle? That person there, yeah. Yeah?
Alright. After a variety of roles, do you prefer playing the hero, villain, or something a little in between?
Oh, okay. I don't really think of the characters I play in terms of a moral compass or moral spectrum. I find it really interesting to play complicated characters that have a lot going on, and you know, all of the characters that I've played so far I think pretty much do, which I'm grateful for, but I don't really, I delight in complexity more than I delight in good or evil. You know, Thredson, who's probably the most despicable character I've played, I would say, was also such a delight, you know, but Spock, who's one of the more heroic characters, is also really special to me as well. So you know, I think of it more in terms of like my relationship to my work as an actor than my relationship to the moral spectrum of the character. That person waving both of their hands, yes, that person there. Well, probably always the one I'm playing when someone asks me that question. So right now it'd be Tom Wingfield in The Glass Menagerie. I don't know where to go. There's somebody way in the back over there waving both of their arms. I like the people that are really far away that have to work harder to get my attention. Gotta get louder than that. Uh-huh. Well, I've only worked with like 30 people. That's not true. I look up to a lot of people. That's another thing. It comes back to like the philosophy of things. I've been super lucky, I feel like, because I feel like I've had great opportunities as an actor in really unique projects and special things. But also, I've worked with amazing people. You know, from the time that things changed for me with Heroes all the way through to now, I feel like I've been so fortunate, and it comes back to like getting back what you put out, you know. It's like, I feel like I want to be a good person. I want to work with people that are good people. So, you know, I look up to, I'm inspired by all of my friends and peers and collaborators, you know, on Star Trek, my castmates and JJ and, you know, the people that I'm working with right now in this play, my director, John Tiffany, my castmates, Cherry Jones and Celia Kina-Bolger and Brian J. Smith, who are, you know, we've gone through this tremendous experience together doing the play at Boston and now doing it again on Broadway. And I just find like I want to, whatever situation I'm in, I try to find a source of inspiration. There's many people that I haven't worked with that I'd love to work with. I can't even think of them now, there's so many of them. But you know, one day at a time, I guess. Yeah, okay. Oh, there's a person jumping up and down there, black, yeah, you. Sure. Thank you. I would cosplay cosplay. What the F is that? So that's when you dress up like other people, right? Oh, is that Wonder Woman over there? Okay. Oh, are you? I am a journalist for the New York Times. I don't know. No? But I love you for being Lara Croft right now. Lara Croft? Good work, Tomb Raider. Alright. How about that person over there waving both of them? Now everybody's just waving both of their hands because they know that's my thing. So yeah, you there in the hat. Yeah, you.
If you could be any other character in any other movie before you were, what? No.
Scratch that. Back up. Erase. Start over.
If you could be any other character from any other movie, what would you be?
Any other character from any other movie or TV show. So basically, if I could be anything that I ever wanted to be ever in the history of time, I have absolutely no idea. That's the other thing about me is I don't really tend to spend too much time looking at what I don't have. I tend to spend more time being grateful for what I do have. So I just feel like my journey is so specific to me that I couldn't imagine any other journey, honestly. I mean, if I was any other character at any other point in time, then I wouldn't be standing here talking to you, and that would be horrible. Sure. What's up?
Well, I thought this was
Well, you certainly worked.
What was your favorite TV show growing up as a child?
2020. I loved 2020.
Sit down.
I'm Hugh Downs. And I'm Barbara Walters. This is 2020. Someone's twirling a poster. No. Because that won't get on the internet. That's all I need right now. Are you kidding me? You'll have to come see the play when I do it sometime. Someone's making a Vulcan salute in the back and waving their hand. You know, you just put it down. Yeah, you. I think that role's been recently taken, if yeah, I don't know, you know, I feel like it's an interesting thing, because Star Trek was my first movie, and so a lot of actors will spend years building a career to be able to do a movie as big as Star Trek, and for me it was like such a weird first movie. I feel like I'm kind of interested in a little bit of reverse engineering right now, which is like smaller movies that are not in space, or where I don't have any superpowers. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I feel like those kinds of experiences tend to find their way into the lives that they're supposed to find their way into, I think, in a large sense. So if it's meant to be, I feel like it'll be, but I don't have my eyes on anything specific right now. No, thank you. How about this young lady right here on the, yeah, you. I'm always in a tough spot when people ask me this question because I don't like to encourage bizarre behavior. And I feel like if I acknowledge the bizarrest behavior that has ever been bizarred upon me, then there will be perhaps repeat performances of same about bizarre behavior. I don't know, people have like followed me on the street for a long time, and I'm not aware of it until like, you know, like I'm like listening to music in New York or something, and then I'm like, why are you walking next to me? So say things to me that make me really uncomfortable. But I will say this, I will say that my fan base, this entire room included, has generally been really, really respectful of me and my desire to maintain some level of normalcy in my life, and I hope that continues. I haven't had any experience with any fan that has made me, you know, like not appreciate fans, so that's nice. People are eccentric and people are, yeah, give yourself a hand. I'm very grateful for everybody's support, and I love the fact that, like, you know, you guys are all really excited about this stuff that we're here to talk about, Star Trek and the comic book stuff and Heroes and even American Horror Story. But I love my fans' willingness to go with me wherever I go, because I've done a lot of different stuff, you know, and so many people from this world have supported that work, the work I do as a producer and Margin Call and All Is Lost, which is coming out in October, and you know, my theater work. A lot of people traveled to New York to see me do Angels in America a couple of years ago, and I hope more of you will come to New York to see me do this play. But you know, I feel grateful. I feel like, you know, I'm very clear, I've said it before, I'm very clear about my boundaries, I'm very clear about what I'm able to offer and what I'm not willing or able to offer, and I think that's served me, so hopefully we'll all live in harmony moving forward, is right? Something. Okay, in the back. Yeah, you. No, the other one. You. Yes, you.
I always keep wondering, how do you cry in movies?
You get sad, buddy. You get sad.
What do you think of?
What do I think of? What would you like to know? I don't know. I mean, it's every day is a different. Every time is different. You know, it depends on why the character is having an emotional response to something. It depends on where I am as an actor. It's like a little bit complicated and kind of hard to talk about. I think every actor has a different process and every actor has different experience of that question. So it's tough to put a point on it. And now people are flashing lights at me. So that works this round. You with the flashing light. No, that person, the other person.
Oh.
Sorry, you can be next. But that person behind you, yeah. And then you. And then you that stood up. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I was wondering if you had a favorite scene or even a favorite episode of filming for American Horror Story.
Preemptive applause. I think, well, Sarah Paulson is, let's get a round of applause for Sarah. I love working with Sarah, and we got to do so much twisted, disgusting, amazing stuff together this season that I would say pretty much all of it was fun. I don't know, my favorite, I don't know if I have a favorite. There was like the episode where Thredson reveals himself and the turn happens. I think it was maybe episode 5 or 6 or something. It was probably my favorite episode to shoot. I loved building the character in a way that people had no idea what was going to happen, and then sort of unraveling it, you know. So that was my favorite one, yeah. Someone's holding up a painting. Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, no, this person was supposed to be. Sorry, go ahead, yeah, you. No, oh, now I'm really in a cluster. The woman that stood up, you.
Yes, okay. So I was just wondering, how do you go from, I mean, psychologically, when you go from living your life to having screaming fans everywhere, how does that affect you? Is it exciting? Is it intimidating? Is it tedious after a while?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to be in a room with this many people caring what I have to say. I don't begrudge it. I like it. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that this many people care what I have to say. But you know, I really do, I think, just try to live like a really, this is one thing, and when I come to something like this, I know what I'm getting into. But when I leave, it's like, you know, I try to take, you know, I live as normal a life as I can, and I don't, there's no, for me, the line between my public self and my private self is very clear. I don't need this kind of exposure or this kind of, I don't thrive on it in a way that's like a narcissistic kind of like devouring of this attention, but I also recognize that you're here because I am a conduit of something else, you know. I represent something for everybody in this room that is a part of the characters that I play and a part of the projects that I work on. And I love to talk about my work, I love working, and I'm so blessed and grateful to be able to do it at this level. So I think I have a pretty, I think psychologically, I have a pretty healthy relationship to it and a lot of therapy. Okay, that person who's clearly not going to take no for an answer.
Hi, in those 8 years when you were trying to finally break in and you were envisioning it, what is exactly the same as you envisioned it when you made it, and what is completely different from how you thought it was going to be?
I would say pretty much nothing is how I envisioned it past, like when I got out of school and I moved to Los Angeles, I had very specific goals that I set for myself, which were to get jobs, right? Like when I got Heroes, I said to my agents, I got Heroes in September, right? When television generally comes back on the air, like new seasons of shows. And I said to my agents that August, here's what I want. I want to play a very interesting character in a recurring capacity on a new show that is a huge hit. That's literally what I said to my agents. And then that happened. And I don't think it happened because I said it. I think it happened because they listened and they put me out for things that I was right for, and that happened to be the job that I got. From that point on, like that was it for me. Like, oh, okay, like I did what I needed to do, what I wanted to do, and then it was about setting a new goal. But then Star Trek happened, and then it sort of ran away from me, and my experience became something else. So all of this stuff, I never would have imagined what it would be like. I would have never dared to imagine what this would be like. So I've just had to roll with a lot of the stuff that came after Heroes and Star Trek in terms of, you know, the exposure and the fame element of it. But I've tried to do it with as much, you know, just ease as possible. And I think as long as you stay open to what's possible, then anything's possible, and you can sort of fill up any experience that presents itself. So I would say that, you know, but the thrill of getting to do this kind of work, getting to work consistently, that is something that, the feeling that it gives me is something that I always dreamed of and always hoped for, and I'm so grateful that I actually get to feel it every day. Yeah, thanks. I've been neglecting this side of the room now. Green top pointing at self. Is that kind of a superhero costume, or is that just a top? No, it's just a top. Okay, well, from here you look like a superhero, so. Really, it's absolutely abominable what's happening there. It's archaic, it's despicable, it's horrifying. It makes me grateful every day that we live in a country that, while still struggling with the limitations of thought, has made incredible progress, certainly in the past year alone, in with regards to equality. I think it's everybody's responsibility, gay and straight, to stand up for human rights. And I think people in America, gay or straight, have a responsibility and an opportunity to voice their opposition to this kind of unfathomable oppression that, I've been to Russia. I mean, had I known the depths and the degree, you know, I mean, I was in Russia not that long ago, actually. Which is horrifying to me, you know? Yeah, so I don't know, I mean, I think the rest of the world needs to serve as a beacon for that place. which is in its nature, I think, such a monolithic, concrete kind of place. You know, I don't know how else to say it. Having been there, I just feel like it's really like you can feel the hardness of the thinking there. And I think that it's the responsibility of the rest of the world that is, in so many ways, look at so many other places on the planet right now. In Europe, all through Europe, and New Zealand, and all through America, the states that are just opening themselves up to this inevitable wave of equality. I just, you know, it's just we have to stay vigilant. And again, for me, visibility is key. You know, people who are willing to stand up. Wentworth Miller, who just stood up the other day to say, like, I will not abide this. I can't stand by anymore. Like, that's what it takes. You know, so props to him and props to people like him, and props to people in this room that are willing to stand up to that, because it's not cool. It's the opposite of cool. Someone's waving their hat in the back. You know what was hard for me to do in 24? Keep my mouth closed. Really, the DP always used to be like, close your mouth. Because I used to stand like this, like... And then I would stand like this. 24 was a real learning curve for me. That was the first time I was ever on